Welcome to the Uplift, where we are uplifting our lives, uplifting each other, and uplifting our communities together. Thank you for joining myself, Sai Herrera, and Tessa Savala here, two women, two attorneys, doing it our way, and inviting you here each week to share in on the stories, advice, and life lessons we've picked up along our journeys that keep us uplifted, and that will hopefully do the very same thing for you. Now buckle in and let's get ready to be uplifted.
Hej, det här är Tessa och jag är här med den underbara Sai. Hi, this is Tessa as always, and I am joined by the human ray of sunshine, Sai.
Hola, so good to be here with you, Tessa. So happy that we get to just spend another morning chatting and hopefully inspiring and uplifting folks along the way.
You know, I think just hearing your voice like releases tension in me, and it's just magic for me.
Oh, same. And it made me think of us just sending out our sound waves all over the universe for the same purpose.
I love it.
Let's do it.
So, I think this is something that we've all experienced, and maybe not a daily basis, but at least me working in politics, it's at least a weekly basis. How other people perceive us and how they freely tell us what they think.
Without hesitation.
Like they're somehow doing us a favor by telling us what they think of us and how we are. And how do we process it? How do we deal with it? How do we not let those thoughts linger? And it can be something totally innocuous. It could have been a compliment, but there's so much like murkiness around it that you're like, is that genuinely a compliment? This could just be me working in politics, right? Because I assume most compliments are fake, or because it's an ends to a meme. How do we handle it? But some of us have family members who give compliments as an ends for a meme, right? Like it's all transactional and let me butter you up before I ask you for this favor kind of thing.
And also sometimes it, is that. I feel like, you're saying maybe we should doubt that, or maybe it's true. And also maybe, people
and maybe there's nothing wrong with that.
Or maybe there's nothing wrong with that. And maybe people are giving compliments that they intend to be compliments and you interpret it a different way, or it means something different to you. I think when you said people are giving like these unsolicited, thoughts, and opinions, it just made me think about how reckless that is, right? Because you don't have any idea what someone else is going through. Right? Like, I remember one time I was really upset because I felt like I just couldn't be enough for some reason. I can't even remember now why, but I just felt like no matter what I did and no matter how hard I tried, it just wasn't enough. And then somebody called me and said something that was like, well, you haven't done this or that. And I was like, devastated, because I'm like, just another example of how I'm not doing enough, and that's what I'm saying is like, it wasn't mean-spirited, probably it wasn't intended to like hurt as much as it did, but you just literally never know what somebody's going through. You have no idea what their inner state is like.
And when somebody says it's not enough or you're not enough, that's for them, right? That's not for you. That's, they think this is how it should have been done, not how you might approach a problem or a solution or a person or an event.
And question the source, as my favorite person says.
I feel like we should have like a counter today on how many times we say, consider the source.
And consider the source. Because, the big thing for me is like, I tend to take people as being genuine people. See, like you have the skill of, and the intelligent, positioning of not believing what people say to be like true.
That includes compliments. I don't believe them either.
Yeah, I love that about you. I think that's, the critical, the skeptical thing, is so important because it really does help protect yourself, right? It helps you protect your psyche and really just put like a buffer. It's like a psychological buffer between you and the external world, right? It's like an atmosphere around your planet, right? Because, my nature is just like, I think it's because I'm such a genuine person that like, I just, that's how I always thought everybody was. And of course I know that's not true intellectually but it is really in my mind such a either it's an inherent skill set or one that you have to learn, but just having that buffer between like where your truth ends and where someone else's truth begins, I think those are like the kind of boundaries that are so important to make sure that you have if you don't already have them kind of installed.
And I think for me it's because I think of myself as such a kind and gentle person one-on-one with people, and I will give people so much grace and offers all the support that I can muster. And I think because of the times that when I was younger got burned in that situation, I have since like wrapped myself in bubble wrap to protect myself, where I want to protect my kindness and I want to protect my gentleness and I want to protect my torn loyalty to just always be there, be supportive and lifting people up. But I don't necessarily feel open to receiving that. Which is, I think, a reason that I don't allow it in from other people.
And, the visuals are always so striking for me. So you described it as wrapping yourself in bubble wrap. And if you actually did that, you would die.
Also, it brings to mind there was a movie, maybe in like the late 90s, of a cult where they wrapped themselves. No, it was like a cult and they had wrapped themselves in bubble wrap.
Really?
And I can't remember how it ended, but it was very bizarre.
Not well.
Obviously, a very, it did not win any like major film awards or favorable critic reviews.
Well, it made me think too about like how the bubble wrap is impenetrable. I mean, obviously, like you can pop a bubble, you can, poke it, whatever. But I mean, it's really a material, a plastic material that's not breathable. There's not, a way for people to come in, or go out either. And so I just thought that was a striking kind of imagery that you created, because when I think about that, I think about the boundaries that we create and like, what are they made of? And so many times people think that like a boundary has to be like all or nothing, right? Like 0, nothing, no boundaries whatsoever. Like your gates are wide open.
Do you think that's like a cultural phenomenon where I think we have a binary situation, at least in the United States, where
the binary is killing us, I think.
It is, right? Like the world is gray and fuzzy.
Yes.
And yet we all,
and it's a wave. It's not a wall. Like, like everything changes. And if you're not changing with it, like my mom always used to say that if you're not riding the wave, you're falling underneath it, right? Like it's just the change is the permanent thing in the world. And so,
I think I don't understand the people who think everything is a yes or a no, or the category A, category B, because for me, like the world is gray and squishy, and maybe that's law school, right? Because when you go to law school,
you gotta get
there really is no truth. It is all about perception and what you can show, right? But when you enter human judgment out there in the real world, like it is,
and human bias, and human trauma, and
I mean,
all the things.
Like, just to go for something basic, me being a blonde, there's a lot of assumptions that I am incapable of human thought.
Sad. That's
totally sad, right?
Come on. Did Elle Woods do no good?
Apparently, she did some, but it did not stick to other generations or people who have not seen Elle Woods.
We need a mandatory movie night.
But at the same time, I do think there's a great power in being underestimated.
Yes, absolutely. Well said. And you can use it to your advantage, right? So,
absolutely.
This topic of like, how do people perceive us? And I feel like the first question should be, and why does it matter? And what do we do with that? right? Because like, does it matter? Well, I would say, yeah, it does matter. But does it matter to your like sense of self and your own individual self-esteem? No, that should not matter, right? Like that's kind of the goal, is to be able to like understand the world without letting it disturb your inner peace and your inner self of our sense of self, right?
What is that common expression? Like, other people's opinions about you are none of your business.
None of my business. That's my favorite. I love it. What they think of me is none of my business. And so I often say that because first of all, everybody got opinions. Everybody has their own opinions. And a lot of times, like you said, people will try to gift them to you. But I don't know if it was the Buddha or just someone, saying something about Buddhism, but they said, if someone tries to hand you a gift and you don't accept it, whose is it? Right. And so I think that's really the key, is like someone can try to gift you or force upon you their opinion of you. But if you don't accept it, if you don't receive it, if you don't let it, permeate your walls of self, then it's not yours. It didn't impact you, right? And so I think when people give these unsolicited comments, I'm interested to know, what does Tessa do? Like, what do you respond? How do you respond? What do you literally say in those moments? Or what do you do in those moments?
One that I've gotten my entire life is people say, oh, you're shy, because I am a reserved, poised person who listens more than I talk. And it is interpreted in the United States as, you are by default shy. In my head, I'm like, my little analytical mind is going, the definition of shy implies fear or either includes fear, and I have no fear. So, no.
Incorrect.
I am incorrect.
False. False. So you just tell them false.
I am reserved. But, I think quiet people make people nervous, right? Because I'm not going to fill the air. Like, I can sit through an entire business lunch and say very little. Just because I want to see how the other person reacts and how they fill the air. And they will, right?
And they will reveal a lot if you let people talk. The power of silence is amazing, actually.
It is. And, when I was younger, when people would call me shy, I'd be like, I don't care. Like, I think I was so unbothered as a child until I think I went to like college, and then I'm like, oh wow, there's all these people with all these opinions, and maybe then the noise got so much louder that I didn't know how to process it well.
Okay.
And then I think I was just like, then I just defaulted to my analytical mind being like, you are incorrect. There are other words in the English vocabulary that you could use. But then,
let me teach you English.
Yes. Let the non-native English speaker teach you English.
Please sit. This will take a while.
And then as I got, became like a fully formed adult, I think I realized that I could use it to my advantage more. Because
you got strategic with it.
Yeah. And I didn't accept their definition because I knew it was wrong analytically.
I love that. That makes me excited just thinking about it that way. Just being like, ooh, how can I use this? This person thinks I'm dumb. How can I use this to my advantage?
Right? Or that, I'm just sitting there with like an empty mind. With reality, I'm doing like all these like calculations in my head.
You're like, let me smile to make them believe that even more.
Yes.
Oh my God.
I remember using it in a courtroom one time. I was like second chair in a case, and during a break, I was in the restroom, and the defendant, or was it criminal? I can't remember if it was criminal. Anyhow, the opposing party was in the restroom too, and they're like, you have such a kind smile, and it's just so nice to feel your energy. And I'm just like, interesting, because all I have is like, I knew I wanted to have a look that was not serious, but not a full smile, just like a gentle little visual, and apparently it worked.
Thank you for your feedback.
Thank you for your feedback. And I employ it a lot, right? Because, as a European, I don't, like, that big toothy smile is not something you see on many Europeans, right? There's the old world has that, like, contentness as opposed to what I often refer to as the disingenuous smile of an American.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Right? Because it's like that
You can't be that happy all the time. Yeah.
But as you say that, I'm like, oh my God, that's so Swedish. It's like everything has to be at this, what we call lagom state, where like Goldilocks, right? It's like the perfect bowl of porridge. And that should be live. At this like perfect.
What's wrong with perfect? I like perfect.
I too, right? And that's where Swedes are, right? It's not the, super flavorful, abundant bowl of porridge. It's the just right porridge.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. For me, I think it's been like a life lesson. Like extremes are never really where it's at. And, they've just probably figured that out more as a society than on an individual level. So.
I think it happens
love that for them.
In societies that have like had been torn down through war and then had to be rebuilt. Like there is that type of like moderation in emotion. How about you? What is something that people have said to you or assumed about you that is not how you are? And what did you do?
Well, it's kind of difficult as I'm thinking about it because, I often tried not to think about what people think about me truly. But sometimes people just tell you, to your point, right? And so people have told me a lot of things. Like the first example I think of is when I was really young, people would think that I was snobby and that I thought I was better than everyone else. And that's just simply because I wasn't engaging them. Like literally that's it. Like I wasn't smiling. I didn't know how to like smile to make people happy yet.
Isn't that awful? Just the sound of that, right? Like it has nothing to do with how you are and how you feel, but it's how you have to perform for them.
Literally that. And that's why I always say like, we're so socialized to be performers. And it's really tragic too, because, we always talk about diversity and how beautiful it is, but how many of us are actually performing? What's the right word for conforming, right? We're performing conformance. Is that the right word? Conformity. We're performing conformity, right? And so a lot of times people are just talking to each other with their masks on, right? And that's not genuine connection. And I think that's why we feel so starved as a society of connection, actually, because of all the fakery. Now, some people don't have any kindness or politeness, and you talk about politeness, and I appreciate that because I think that there's a big difference between being fake and being polite, right?
There is,
and
absolutely.
So, like, you can learn to be polite and make people feel, at least comfortable around you, and that's, that's great. But it's not the same as either being kind or having a mask either. Like, I think about kindness now as so different than being nice, right? And so like from that childhood moment, I learned things of like, I have to be mindful of the way people perceive me because it was actually dangerous. Like there were people who literally like talked about fighting me before because they thought that like I had a problem with them. Well, public schools, or maybe all the schools are like that. I don't know. But
that is so crazy to my mind right now.
It is crazy, but that was really my reality where I was like, okay, I guess we could fight, but like I don't know why. Like
I love that you're willing to entertain this idea and just like willing to go through with it. Whereas I would be like, I think I would stand there so confused. Like,
I was
why?
confused.
There's no logic in this.
There was no logic, and I think that's the crazy, difficult part. Is like one of the hardest lessons I've ever learned was like, not everybody is a logical thinker.
Surprise!
That was a hard one for me.
It is a hard one.
That was really hard for me. But yeah, like people have perceived me and thought of me as so many different things. And even now, honestly, I think that like I have mostly mastered like the big American smile and making people feel comfortable and, like being able to be like vocal, louder. Like, I mean, I can talk as I'm talking now, like until the cows come home situation, but I prefer to do that with deep logical thinkers like you.
Yeah.
And
it's so much more fulfilling.
Different. Yes.
It's so different.
It's so different than like what you have to do to perform out in society. And when I say have to, I say that meaning that's how I have felt like I've had to perform, right? Like I don't condone or like support the idea. I just feel like that's how I've been made to feel, that that's what I've had to do. And frankly, like it sucks because you literally get rewarded for building that mask. It's like the more you perform for the people in the way that they want, like the more you get rewarded and you get the things that, you have been seeking, but, or it feels like you're getting those things. I should say again that like, there's kind of like a shallow versus a deep reality of that, if you will, so like you might get people who, I don't know, receive your presence better, accept you faster, give you the job, promote you, whatever. But is that deep, meaningful connection? No, it's not. No, you can only do that without a mask on,
I find it frustrating when I have done I think a better job of removing my mask and substituting politeness, which I don't think is just being nice. It's just like the rules of engagement is what I think of politeness.
I like that. Yeah.
But at the same time, I find the people who found benefit from the mask that I had on are also the people who asked for more authenticity. And I'm just like, you can't have both, right? Like this mask is not authentic. This mask is a performance for you.
They want you to be who they want you to be. They want you to actually be that person. And that's the part where it's like, you have to decide, like, are you going to give up a part of your soul for someone else's enjoyment or not? Like we talked about energy vampires. I feel like there's like a soul sucker situation as well. Like people literally want to eat away at the essence that is you, and you have to protect it. And so it brings me back to boundaries and thinking about like, are the boundaries an unpenetrable like wall of stone and a moat and like all of these things that you're keeping everyone out? Is it like there's nothing there, you have no protection? Or is it something in between? And you're making me believe that maybe politeness is part of that answer, actually, because, I think there's just some nuance there where there's a fine line between like politeness and fakeness. Do you have any like insights about that line? Have you like had to struggle with that line, or like how far to take it?
Listen to me do the mental gymnastics of how do I say the fact that I was a 8-year-old who was really into etiquette. So I've always been way too into etiquette and politeness.
I don't know why I'm thinking of like, that's the school of etiquette. It's a whole different alternative dimension.
I think sometimes I use my politeness and etiquette in a way that is an offensive move. Not to offend somebody, but, offense, defense kind of way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it allows me to A, remove my mask, and B, I don't have to process whatever phobia or ism or just destructive commentary that I'm receiving, because I have just become like this neutral space. And I think of it, maybe it's more like a netting or a screen or something, right? Like air can flow through it and I can choose what comes into it, but there's enough to stop like the garbage.
Yeah.
And that etiquette is just, I think it's just a filter. It is a filter and it's an easy set of rules that I know exists that I can implement. And I unfortunately realized that a lot of people were never taught basic etiquette.
Well, please, and I mean this genuinely, please teach us, Tessa, because I've heard you talk about politeness and etiquette a few times now, and I don't actually know what you mean. Like, what does that mean? What does that look like? What do you literally say to, use politeness and etiquette as a filter, as a buffer, as, this offensive move? Like, how do you use it? What does that look like?
So there's this quote from Emily Post. I'm going to summarize. And Emily Post is a famous U.S. etiquette expert. She said, politeness is a sensitivity to others. And I take that as a way of when I want to just like let my inner Viking spew out as many words as I can possibly find, I engage etiquette and I choose not to say the things that I want to say. And instead I turn around and ask them about something totally unrelated. Kind of like a lawyer trick, right? Like you no longer answer the question or continue the conversation that you're being asked to continue. And instead you choose to do what you want to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I like
Sometimes that involves
it's
me
constraint.
Just saying, did you know that when a place setting was first set, the knives had import? If the knife blade was facing out, that means the diner was there to attack. And if you think about it, that's like the blood wedding. Was it the blood wedding? The red wedding?
The red wedding.
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones, yeah.
And otherwise, it was the knife is placed facing inward, which means that you are there for peace and not choosing violence. So I think of my etiquette and politeness and asking, and the sensitivity to others is people like to talk about themselves. So I just start asking questions about them. And then I can just kind of tune out, retain the information I need to.
The tuning out.
It keeps me away from going to a place that I don't want to go to because I want my reputation to be how I see myself, which is kind and gentle and open.
I love that. And I mean, the first thing is from the last thing that you just said, like thinking about intention. It's so intentional, right? Like it's what I was saying before. Like some people think in logic, some people think from, emotion, some people act out of emotion, what have you, or I mean, honestly, it's a spectrum and we all do all of it at different levels, different times, right? But like the aspiration of having that intention first and foremost, like, do we all actually know how we want to be perceived?
No,
have
and
we
I think
all
that's
like taken a moment to actually set that intention,
It's kind of why I go back to that Emily Post quote probably daily, because sometimes you want to offer advice that's unsolicited. I don't, because I have a sensitivity to others. And why do I presume that I would know more than they do about what they're going through, what they're dealing with, what they need to be doing? Because those are their choices, right? They're not my choices to make for them.
Yeah. And you're acting out of your values. And that's the other part of like, have we actually set our values? It kind of makes me think about strategic planning.
Strategic planning for life.
Strategic planning for the self. Really though, like, I mean, when you're in an organization, it's just a group of people. I think of it as an organism, right? And it's like you have to keep the organism healthy. And I think of the organism like a person. Like you actually have to have values of something that you set, right? Like, do we all know what our actual values are? And I feel like we operate out of so much, what's it called? Like unconscious script, right? Like so much programming that's just there. What's coming up for me is like the intentionality of it all, the speaking it into existence and the acting it into existence. Like that's such a powerful tool that we could all use to literally, like, I don't know, just quickly in our journals, jot down like, what is my personal mission or how do I want to be remembered? Right. I remember somebody saying, I think it's a famous quote of like, no one's going to remember what you did. They're just going to remember how you made them feel.
It is true. And I think that's why I think of my use of etiquette and being sensitive to others and being concerned on how the image that I want to project is probably also a way to prevent mischaracterizations from others too, right? Like just being, for me, that's being my authentic self. But as you point out, it might be more me being intentional about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, which makes me wonder, like, what is authenticity now?
Well, that's a good one. I was just going to say that really, it seems to me like my interpretation of it all would be that you are aligning your actions with your values, and your values are aligning with your authentic self. Like, you are you. What is authenticity? It's hard to say because, I mean, if you study the psychology, the developmental psychology of it all, like, there's a lot of theories about how we become who we are. But at the end of the day, I think authenticity is just actually being in alignment with what makes you feel like true to yourself, right? Like what makes you feel good about what you're doing and saying and how you're acting and treating other people. So
Yeah.
I think your authentic self is like, if you like, to make people feel good about themselves or to make them feel comfortable, like that's part of your authentic self, and you're aligning your intentions, your values, and your actions with that authentic part of yourself.
Now that you're explaining it to me, and I fully agree, I also realize that it's not only my way of being, but it's how I want to be remembered, as you pointed
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
like I
And
want to be remembered as the person who was gentle and kind and open and supportive, even though a lot of those terms through my life have had, and we'll say ambiguous meaning or reception in society, right? That whole nice guys never finish first kind of mentality.
I think the saying is nice guys finish last, which is worse.
Oh, oops.
But
this is why I try to avoid idioms generally.
No, the reason I say that
English
is
not my
because
first
it just shows the gap, right, between like our theory and the theory of the society that is feeding into us, right?
Yeah.
And so it just shows how far away we are from this. I like to call it just, propaganda, frankly. Like, I think that there's so much messaging out there that serves, masters that we don't want to serve. Like you talk about it all the time, and how like, these corporations are really like literally making us feel bad about ourselves so that we'll buy their products. Like, that's disgusting. It's just, I mean, I don't know how else to say it. It's just repulsive to me that like, you don't care that like, my daughter might, I don't know, develop disordered eating or something, but you sure got that, thing sold for $13 or whatever. Like that's a soul sucking situation that is not okay. You know what I mean? So I really believe that, what you're saying, it has to be kind of, I don't know, just has to be held in a place of like honoring yourself, your true self. And I think one of the biggest issues for me in society is like, everything is really made as a distraction to take you away from yourself. That's my big theory of like, distraction, distraction, distraction. Look over here, get pleasure, run from pain, and like get money for affirmation. And like, this is what society teaches us, that like, we're not good enough as we were born. And I don't know why, from one of our other talks, I think of little baby Tesla. You must have been the cutest baby. And I'm like, why would you say that to sweet baby Tesla? Like, that's just ridiculous, And I think we should all think about our baby selves as that, to know that like, you were born perfect, and you still are. You're still worthy of all the love and the care. And no one's more worthy of your love and care than yourself. So, when all these different messages are coming through, unsolicited comments from people, which, for me, I think the way that I'm learning to protect myself is just to always kind of do a screening question in my mind, which is like, is this person trying to manipulate me?
Consider the source.
And like, consider the intention.
Yeah.
Right? Because like, that person might not even know that they're doing it, because it's, how there are pathological liars.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there are pathologic manipulators.
Oh, yeah.
And there are just people who literally like, they're so, I don't even want to say addicted, but like, they're just so accustomed. Like, it's just it's become their essence, or not I don't want to say their essence, because that should be more pure. It has become their habit and practice. right, to manipulate the people and things around them. And it's probably rooted psychologically down to their like sense of not having enough control in their life and over their own circumstances, right? So they have to do this outward controlling. But I've seen it where it's like people are manipulating people for no good reason. Like, yeah. And when you're a logical thinker, it does not compute. You're just like,
it does not
why would you even do that? So like, it doesn't even occur to you to think that this person is trying to manipulate you, because it doesn't even make any sense for them to manipulate you. But I've come to this conclusion of like, actually, it does make sense if somebody's just a pathological manipulator. Just like when people lie for no reason, they're pathological liars.
Wow, that is profound and scarily accurate. And I can see how it's not only like it might be their identity or who they are in their psyche, but also the like societal cultural programming of almost transactional relationships are exalted at times.
And power over, not even transactional, but power over. So like we have to talk about the fact that like abuse has been, I mean, more than normalized. It's been celebrated, right? And when I say abuse, I use it because my definition of abuse, my understanding of what abuse is power over another, right? And like using that power over another in a bad way, to harm that person or to benefit you, regardless of the harm to that other person. And so that has unfortunately, and I mean, I'm sure you could think of 100 examples in society, how that's been rewarded, right? And so when people are doing it, like I think about you all the time in politics, it's like manipulation is almost like literally the whole game. Like, yeah, like it's like, it's just like an open secret of like, this is what we do and this is how we get what we want. This is how we win, right? And like, regardless of any consequences or harm to other people. So,
or humanity in general.
Or humanity overall. Yeah. Like, even, like, I mean, you know, we can even think about the fact that like people try to control, you know, the next quarter to spite the next, you know, decade or what have you. Right. Over and over again. That pattern. And so
there's so little long gaming.
Yeah, there's no long game at all. And that's what I'm saying is like when someone's trying to manipulate you in the moment, that has been my only like, you know, defense, I guess, or buffer is to just to start questioning it, just to have that little critical thought of like, and why is this person saying this? Or not even why, just could this person be trying to manipulate me? And just to entertain it.
Do you ever question what the manipulation is?
What do you mean?
Say somebody wants you to, I'm trying to think of something random, like babysit their dog.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's an example. And so they have their little manipulative game, but you also have like all these obligations, so you don't have the free time or the bandwidth to house their dog.
Yeah.
But they are
something I don't want to do, but it's something they want me to do.
Exactly. Do you ever, I guess, ask them, is there anyone else you can turn to? Did something fall through and that's why you weren't, or were they just a horrible person who didn't plan on trying to find a way to care for their animal and now are just doing whatever they can to make up for their mistake?
Well, I used to be that person.
What did you find it effective when you were that person?
Not as effective as the way I operate now. So
what do you do now?
Now I say no.
Boundaries.
Boundaries. And it's not even, I don't even know if that's a boundary as much as it is just like a clear, unmistakable statement. Like no is a complete sentence. And I say it over and over again. I'm like trying to teach everyone, no is a complete sentence. Like I don't know who, you know, said that, but thank you for thinking of that because it has helped me tremendously. You know, like everything that you just said, that's exactly what I always used to do. And I still see people doing it all the time. And, I actually like, and I hope this isn't offensive to you or anyone else, but like, I actually think that that is part of our script as women that we've been given of like, you don't get to say no. Like, you're here to serve
Oh
people.
my gosh, so true.
You're here to serve people until there is a good excuse, right? Like, you have to justify your not serving people.
You have to make yourself smaller for them.
Yeah, you have to make not only smaller, but like literally, like you're subjugating yourself, right? Like, you should be subjugated. The messaging is that you should be subjugated to service of all others, unless you can justify why you're not, right? Like, I have a friend who is going through a situation with a person who, we've talked about this before, is just like an energy vampire, wants all of her attention, wants all of her care. And she's not getting anything from this quote unquote relationship. And, she started saying all the reasons why she shouldn't have to continue being friends with this person. And I said, why are you justifying this? There's no justification required. Like, you don't have to apply. You can literally just stop being friends with this person, or give them less of your time, or say no. Or, you can do whatever you want. And you don't have to justify it. Now, I am trying to square this away with your politeness suggestions.
But I think you could say no politely too, right?
Yeah. And I think that is the middle ground that, like, we need to learn to navigate. But as my curandera told me once, like, when you start practicing boundaries, sometimes they do have to be stone walls to start, until you can figure out like what the right consistency is for letting in what you need and keeping out what you don't.
That's some wise advice.
I thought so. So how would you say no politely? I feel like an example could help in this case, because I feel like I'm at the extreme. We need to get to Sweden. I'm just like, no. Which is clear, which helps me be clear. I mean, for me personally, I think I am always kind. I never say, no, I hate you, die. Like,
even though I know sometimes in my head that is probably what I want to say, but
or like, how dare you irresponsible fool? Like, you should have, gotten your shit together. Like, I would never demean somebody, and that's why I think that's why I like the clarity and the simplicity of just saying no, because it's not mean. And see, even as I say that, like, that's literally my, like, very programmed, subjugated woman type of training that is telling me, like, it's not okay to say no, which is such a terrible message, but it's like getting okay with that, right? Like, getting okay, like finding your voice, being okay with saying no. And, I think I seen Maya Angelou talking about this, and she was just like, if it's a no, say no. And if it's a yes, say yes. Like, just the most clear thing that you could possibly do. And it's a favor to both of you, I think. But you can always say it with love, is what I like to say, which I think is in line with, like, the politeness situation. So, sometimes if I want to give a little bit of something extra, someone I really love, I'd say, no, I can't. I give them a little something extra.
See, I usually say, I would love to be able to help you out, but my obligations do not give me enough time to do the job, do whatever it is to the best.
But see, now that will work. And even saying I can't, like, can be a trap. And this is why I'm so cautious. When you're surrounded by people who try to manipulate you, which I know you are in the shark's den all the time, giving anything can actually, put you at more risk of having to, like, defend yourself, right? So, like, and I hope that this isn't the case for, most people. But I think that this is why I like the idea of just saying no, and making it clear, because even as you're saying all of that, it's making me feel like you really want to do it, but you don't know how you can do it because of circumstances. And so now we need to just figure out how to overcome those circumstances, right?
I guess I have two different approaches. Mm-hmm. If they are not somebody that I love, it's going to be no, period.
Perfect.
But if it's somebody that I love, I would really love to help you out, but obligations prevent me from doing it.
Yeah. And that's what I mean too. I think I was saying the same thing. It's like if it's someone I really care about and, I would otherwise want to do it. That's another thing too, though, is like setting
Yeah.
expectations. So like if somebody asks you, they wanted you to babysit their dog, like you said, and it's something that you would actually usually do, but you literally can't, you can't do it because of time obligations or something. I think that's a perfectly fine thing to say because you're telling someone basically you would do it, but you're not able to. And you're
Yeah.
being clear, but you're being kind. Now, if I'm like allergic to dogs, or I never ever ever want to babysit this person's dog because I don't even like them that much. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's where it's not so much on whether or not you love this person or like this person. It's about like your messaging, like you said, like having an intention on how you're portraying your inner, desires or inner thoughts or inner self, right? Like if you asked me to watch your dogs and I couldn't, I would be like, I'm sorry, Tessa, I wish I could help you out, but I can't this weekend. But let me know
Yeah.
if you need me to do it in the future because I genuinely would do that for you, right? But if some,
Yeah.
work acquaintance asked me to do that, I'd be like, no.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not because I don't like them or love them. It's because I don't want them to get the wrong impression that this is something that I will ever do.
Right. And for me, that like when it comes to work acquaintances, it's that reminder that I always give myself is the people when you have both been hired by somebody and you're both working at some, corporation Z.
Mm-hmm.
Those people are not your friends. Those people are your colleagues.
Yes, I know.
And I feel like there should be boundaries around those relationships.
There has to be. There
Bouncing.
has to be. And I think we should talk about that too because I think it's hard to know what those boundaries should be. Like boundaries are hard. Boundaries
And there's always exceptions, I will
there are always
note.
exceptions and also the boundaries are probably different for every single relationship that you have, right? So it's not uncomplicated. Like I love when people are like just like no boundaries, like and it's just so simple. And I'm like, God, I wish it was that simple,
It's
but
not.
it's just not. It's like you can't talk the same way you talk to, you can't talk to your mother the same way you talk to like your coworker. That's insane. Like those are two entirely different relationships, right? So I feel like with the work boundaries, I'd love to talk about that a little bit and just ask like even the people that you like the most. I'm going to say at work, even though I know your workplace is not, like Corporation Z, but like even the people you like, the colleagues that you like the most in your bubble, in your world, in your circle. What boundaries do you have with them that you think are very important to maintain?
For me, I do not. There are like 3 exceptions. And beyond that, I do not socialize on a personal level with them.
Okay.
Right? Like, and that's probably like I don't know if it's my paranoia or that my way of protecting
The
who I am.
cautiousness is, I mean, your boundaries are on point. I'm studying at your feet. Go for it.
And it takes me a long time for me to like allow them into my home.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I've maybe have allowed working in politics for the last 20 years, 25 years. I have allowed 1, 2, 3 people into my home.
Wow.
And I know hundreds, if not thousands of people.
So why were those
But I
3
think you have to
people the
be,
exception too? Like say the rule and then say the exception too.
they were trustworthy and they were reliable and they never once indicated a desire to stab you in your back.
Hmm.
Which
Do
is
you have a rule on
common.
time?
I'm sorry?
Do you have any rules on time, like how much time it takes to assess someone's
No.
trustworthiness, for example? Okay.
I just trust my gut. So it could be almost immediate, and it was with one of those people. The others, there's so much manipulation that goes on in politics. You have to ensure that that's not a like person who sole purpose is manipulation.
It's so fascinating thinking about, the world that you live in. It feels like it's so like doggy dog. It feels like it's so like kind of cutthroat that like you have to, have these protections and be cautious in these ways and trust your instincts. And for some reason, it's making me think about like just nature and how like, when you live out in the elements kind of thing, like you have to use your best judgment to survive. Like, I don't know why that's where my mind goes, but it also makes me think about like how meaningful your real relationships must be too.
They are, yes. I think a lot of people in my business confuse colleagues with close friends.
Mm.
And I think it's because of my love of the background of words, etymology, and knowing that there's a large space between a colleague and a friend.
Yeah. Yeah, and people get it confused so easily, and there's so much opportunity for manipulation there. And
Yeah.
like, I mean, it's unfortunate that we have to think about the world this way. Like, I would love to like, have my childhood naivete of just like everyone's great. But
Wouldn't that be wonderful?
that would be wonderful.
Though I still do believe that everybody is good at their core. They have just chosen an alternate path.
I agree. I really do. Like, and it's not even like sometimes the choice. Sometimes I think about it as like they're stuck in this pattern.
Oh,
And they
yeah.
could get out of it, but we don't know what it would take to get them there. And also, it's not my responsibility to get them out of it. So
It is
I have
not.
to remind myself
And,
of that.
it's true. Like, I think the longer you wear the mask becomes a habit, and the mask becomes yourself.
Yeah, and then you forget why you even made this mask, but
Oh,
you know that
so
you've
true.
been safe with this mask on, so why would you take it off?
Isn't that wild? Like
Yeah.
how
It becomes your
the things
armor.
that maybe some people try to use as protection become themselves, but it's the antithesis of who they thought they
They
were going
really
to be at
are.
one point in time.
Or who they actually are underneath, right? It's like, and
Yeah.
I think that's why we, like so many people end up like having to go on this like, self-discovery journey because you've lost yourself. My sister likes to say you got lost in the sauce. And it's true. Like you really like, you get so far away from who you just were, that it's not easy to actually reconnect with yourself, and really find the true you.
I think I realized that I needed to stop taking off my mask or stop putting on my mask, which I did, especially when I worked inside of government, to the point where I would not wear my wedding ring because I didn't want anyone to ask about my husband or my relationship because I did not think they were worthy of knowing personal information about me.
And it was
Which is like
probably,
an extreme approach, right?
well, it sounds extreme, but like again, in the environment that you're in, it sounds like it's actually a reasonable and logical response to the threats of danger.
Yeah, right. But I wonder, like, how other people would know when to stop wearing the mask, right? Especially if it becomes your identity because you've worn it for so long, you know nothing else. And I can't fault them for that, right? I wonder if it's an event in their life or as we grow older and we grow more confident, or as I often think, I think we grow more unbothered, which then like allows our confidence to shine.
I love
Is
that.
that what frees them?
That should be the phrase for getting older. Just growing unbothered.
Right? Like, the other day I realized as I grow older, I want to be more unbothered, more joyful, and more liberal and open because I have no right to impose my views on anybody else. And I just want to be accepting to everything because then I would have a greater understanding of the world and its people.
And you already are becoming more of that just by setting that intention. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Yep. And I think that the whole idea of masking, it makes me think a little bit more about intention, like we were talking about earlier, and essentially like how I think that masks serve a purpose is one of the things that is kind of coming up, right? It's like people build these
Ah,
masks because it protects them, right? I think the big pitfall is that we're often creating these masks before we are like grown adults that know how to set
yep.
intentions and have like an actual awareness or like kind of like a metacognition, like we are thinking about how we're thinking, right? Like we don't have any of that when we're young, or most of us don't have that when we're really, really young. And so as we're young, we're just like trying to figure out how to survive this crazy world, right? And so we're just like, let me try this, let me try that. You're just like trying on masks kind of. And then whatever sticks, you're like, okay, this one's working out for me. Like keep this on, keep this one handy. Um, I think it's kind of, again, like an unlearning situation. This is kind of, not exactly the same, but somebody told me once when I was struggling during COVID, I feel like I really lost myself in work during COVID. During I call it the epicenter of COVID because, the ripples are still also out there and here.
Oh, yeah.
But during the epicenter, during the onset of COVID, especially, like, I think I just threw myself so much into work because it made me feel like I had some sense of control over something, you
Mm,
know, and that became my identity of like the worker bee situation again. And, it also like just built on something that was already a seed there. And I remember asking for advice because I literally was like, I am working too much. Like, like
oh,
I was self-aware where I was just like, this is not healthy, like this can't be good. But I also couldn't necessarily just stop doing it, right? It wasn't that simple. So I remember asking somebody like, how do you, and I mean, it's not just me, like so many people
oh,
have
yeah.
obviously struggled with like not only just COVID generally, but like the fact that at that time, we moved to remote work, we moved to this, sense of like we're always on because there could be a crisis, and we have the accessibility to one another because obviously cell phones and internet and all the things, right?
Yep.
And so I remember struggling with that, asking somebody like, how do you not do this? How do you do something better than what I'm doing? And this one person, I think was on my board, he literally was like, it's kind of simple. He was like, but what I do, he was like, I have a little cap and I put my cap on when I'm ready to work. And I do my work day, and when I'm done, I take off my cap. And then it's just a little signal for me to know that like this has ended and now we can do our thing, right? Like we can be ourselves. We can do what we want to do. I'm talking to, I'm using some weird pronouns, but the reason I'm saying all of that is because I think maybe we can learn something from that in terms of like using masks in a limited way, right? Like not letting them become our identity, but like using intention and awareness, that metacognition of like understanding what we're thinking ourselves, right? Like thinking about what we're
Mm-hmm.
thinking and just maybe being more conscious about it and saying like, okay, I'm aware that when I go into this setting, I'm going to be presenting in this way, and I'm
Yep.
doing that with intention because it's going to serve me in this way. And when I come
Mm-hmm.
home, I leave my mask, on I don't know, the entryway table, and I get to be me again fully with, the people in my home that I trust and I feel safe with, or something to that effect.
I think that phrase, being my full self, is what's
Mm-hmm.
so important, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like that Japanese thought process that we all have 5 different masks, like the mask we present publicly, the mask we
Mm-hmm.
present during work, the mask we present to our friends, the mask we present to our family, and then the mask that we wear for ourselves, or the face that we are for ourselves.
Mm.
And they're all slightly different, but they all have a different intent, right? Because you allow a certain amount of access to yourself through all of those as a protection mechanism, as a way to achieve your goals, as a way to make sure that you're being perceived the way you want to be perceived. And that varies. And I think I guess it's a way of destroying the binary and everything, right? Because you get to choose at all times how you're being perceived.
Yeah, and I mean, I think as you're saying that, my mind goes to, first of all, thank you for educating us with that. I love that, that's something that people have been thinking about for a long time, and that's incorporated into their cultural teachings. And I love that it's being shared now, just to think about that for yourself and whether or not it rings true. It definitely rings true for me. Like, even just being home alone is a rare thing for me. And so when I am, I'm like, oh, I feel different. I just feel a little different. Like something is different, right? But also when you're saying like we get to control how we're perceived, something comes up for me where I want to say we can influence how we're perceived, but we can't control it.
Which circles us fully back, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yes, because at the end of the day, like, if we could all control how we're perceived, I mean, there'd be no reason for PR firms, right? Like
Right.
there's not a full science to it. And, you can be in a room and do a thing or say a thing. And, the 15 people around you might have 15 different perceptions of what you said and what it meant, right? So I don't think that there's any real controlling of it, but there's definitely influencing of it. So like you said, like if you want to be perceived as kind and gentle and warm or whatever, and you align your actions to your intentions and your values, you're more likely to be perceived like that by more people.
Mm-hmm.
But will you be perceived like that by 100% of the people, 100% of your life? No.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
And there's not, it's not that you can't do anything, like, right. That's like the, kind of like the nihilistic way of thinking of like, there's no point of anything because we can't do anything. We can't control anything. Right. I think that there's a nuance there. Again, there's no binary there. There's a nuance of like, you can influence it with certain people who are receptive to that influence.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some people who don't have those receptors and they want to see you a certain way and they will see you that way no matter what you say or do. And then there are other people who will always see you as, better than the actions. I mean, think about the mother who, the son can do no wrong type of situation, right? Like there are some people who will always see you that way. So I don't think we can control it, but I think we can definitely influence it. And if we are going to influence it, having that intention to influence it based on and in alignment with, who we truly are, what our values are, and how we want people to see us or perceive us in the most genuine way. I think that's the most we can do.
Dee, can you think of a tip on how we can all do a better job of seeing ourselves for who we want to be?
Seeing ourselves for who we want to be or how we want to be perceived by others, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, for me, it's you, right? Like,
aww.
For me, I just think of like, well, how would Tessa see me in this situation? Or how would Tessa, interpret my thoughts or my actions or whatever in this situation? Because I mean, I truly think you see me in a better light than I can ever imagine. And I love that because it's like, you can try to think positively as much as you can. You can try to have like the best self-esteem, right? But you're trying to do it with a brain and a body that's already been programmed and damaged by other people's shit that they put on you. Right? Yeah. And so it's like, I can only go so far until I see that other shining example. It's an aspiration that I can actually, it's like, the mountains. You climb a mountain and then you can see the next one, right? It's like you just can't see beyond that until someone shows you maybe. So I think it's that for me is just like thinking about the people who I love the most and who love me the most and how, they would treat the situation and give me kindness and grace. Like that helps me, probably more than anything. But also I think the other thing for me is you talked about the 5 masks and who you are, in those 5 different kind of like social settings, right? For me, that I interpret that as like how meditation is so powerful, because you can meditate obviously with a group, right? But even when you meditate with a group, and I usually never, I don't really ever meditate with other people. I just meditate on my own. But even when you meditate in a group, you're really just, you're turning the spotlight inward, right? Yep. Like you're exploring your inner world. And I think that is massively impactful. It's hard to describe to people who like have never done meditation, or like, you know, that have only done like kind of like a, I don't know, like they've had a taste but nothing meaningful, what have you, right?
Yep.
But you know, some people have these misconceptions that meditation is like this, like, you know, you're a yogi, you're a guru, you're like got your, you know, you got this whole setup, and like you're
You have to have
other
the
thing.
right pillow at the right moment and the right sound bath. Yeah.
You're out in nature and this beautiful, no, like meditation is literally just like sitting with yourself, and being still in every way, like mind, body, spirit, like letting everything settle.
Yep.
And when you do it, you know, and it's meaningful, like, I think that is the only time that I'm actually that one mask that you talked about, which I don't even know if I mean, I would think about that as like not having a mask, but you know, it still can be. It's, I don't know what I'm trying to say, except for like, the way I think about it is like, I could be home alone and fill up my day with a bunch of tasks, and that's not me. That's me doing.
Oh, that's deep. Yeah.
But if I'm sitting with myself and nothing, you know, just nothingness, and like letting everything fall away, like letting all the ego just kind of crumble, just letting all the tasks like fall away, just letting every thought kind of just pass by and just being, I feel like that's me living with no mask. That's me like actually putting the mask aside. And I think that's the other thing that really works for me, because if I can get there, even for one moment, you know, in the day, it's like going back to source. It's like going back, you know, and touching something real, and everything in the rest of the day kind of becomes just, you know, more real. It's more centered.
Oh, that is so lovely. I was thinking about what you said about having the people around you that give you the love and support to be your best self. I probably focus too much on removing the riffraff from that group.
No,
But that is
that's
me as somebody
you
who
have to.
spent some time being no contact with my parents and brother, and continue to be no contact with my brother.
Mm-hmm. But
And those are hard choices to make, but I think it was the best choice for me to protect my mental health, my mental well-being, and my choices to live with the intentions that I find important.
you aligned your actions with your values, right? And like,
Yep.
and your values have probably changed over time to center your health and well-being more than you used to, probably. I'm just guessing, but
Yes. I mean, yes, I believe that I went from type A overachiever who would sacrifice themselves to achieve, to somebody who found a much better work-life balance. And I credit the pandemic in that I discovered work-life balance during the pandemic.
Nice. Yeah. And I wonder if like, I wonder what can get you to that place without a pandemic. I guess.
Yeah, I do not wish a pandemic on the world again.
You know, because so many people, hopefully some of the people listening now are people who will hopefully never have to go through that. Right.
I
But I
hope
mean, but the
so.
world has shifted too, like in
Yeah.
response to the pandemic, whether or not they actually lived it. And I just wonder, like, how do you get to that place without that? Because, you know, there's been so many dramatic things in our lifetime. Like, I think that they talk about, like, you know, I think it's millennials at least who, like, they're making all of these, like, you know, videos and shorts about, like, could we not have any more historic moments? Like, we just, we have our share, right? More than our share. You know, I hope it's not like that forever, or for the next generations especially, but it still makes me think like how some of those things are the things that not even force you, but really, like, you know, they give you a good push in that direction of like self-discovery and inward journeying and all of that good stuff, and the healing, like not the requirement, but like the need to go down that path, right? And seek that. But I think it happens, and hopefully in everyone's life in some way or another, whether it be, hopefully less painful than some of the examples we're giving. But is there anything that you can think of? I feel like it doesn't even have to be a big momentous thing like the pandemic too. It's like, what else has gently like pushed you in the direction of self-discovery and healing?
I think what has kept me in a good balanced life is engaging in hobbies, right? And they don't have to be expensive hobbies. It doesn't have to be capitalism. It could just be reading books from the library or walking in nature.
Free libraries out there now.
Yeah, right? Like having a life that is well lived on all areas and prioritizing it, right? Like your having a life shouldn't be secondary to your work identity.
But see, in there lies the challenge for me, because I feel like as you're saying that, I know it's true and I believe it more than ever now, right? But I think about my younger self. And if I was like 33 and I just had my baby girl and I'm still not making enough money and, all the things that I felt at that time, like, you couldn't tell me that. I don't think I would receive that. I think that at that time I'd be like, oh, that's good for you. But I know it's so true. And that's what I think about is like, how do we help people to get there sooner? I think, first of all, if anyone's listening to this podcast, it's probably because they know already. They have sensed, their intuition is there that something is missing or something's, not right, or that they're seeking something. And so that's kind of my first thought is like trusting your intuition. You talked about that earlier, and I wanted to underscore how important that is, because people can say whatever the hell they want to say.
So
right?
True.
Like, unfortunately, right? They can say whatever they want to say. And one of the first things I always try to coach people with is, you can't control other people. You can only control yourself, to some extent. Right. And so intuition, I think, cannot be, understated, or can't be overstated, I guess would be the phrasing. The importance of it cannot be overstated, because your intuition is something that, like, first of all, nobody else gets to see, know about, feel, understand. And you don't need anyone else's validation for it, right? And I think this is where things get really interesting in terms of psychology. When people say things, the reason I ask, like, is this person trying to manipulate me, is because now I see how there's so many ways that people will manipulate you. And, the harsh ways that people do it are the most obvious ways. The kind, the kind looking or niceties that people use, the sweet things that they say, the friendships that they try to play, the triangulations and all the things that they do, that seem on the surface to be kind, but are actually manipulative. Those are the tricky ones. And so they're really tough, right? To overcome and to see them for what they are. And sometimes it takes time. That's why I asked you earlier, like, if you have a rule for time. When I was young, I always had a rule for time when it came to relationships, only because of, based on, again, having that little bit of like observer scientist thing. I would look at other people's relationships and I'd be like, oh, well, you got, too committed to this person right away, and that's how you got into this mess. Like that. And so I would always say, like, you can't even really know someone until, and I don't know where I got this rule, but I'm like, until you've lived with them at least for 2 years, you don't even know this person. Like, this person is a stranger to you. They could be a serial killer. Like, you have no idea who this person is, because you can see that people can, like, wear those masks for so long. It's amazing, actually.
They can. That makes me think about, by talking about how hobbies and having a life outside of work is important. I started very, very small, right? Like it could be, I planted 3 6-inch pots with herbs, right? A small little baby step into gardening that takes me, that, you know, I spent probably like 5 minutes with the pots at the beginning. And now it's, you know, a delightful garden.
You know, I love that you said that so much, because going back to the capitalism of it all, you get on social media and everyone's like, look at my like 13-acre garden. And I'm like, holy shit, like,
right?
That's never going to be me. So skip that, you know, like it's not going to happen. I love that little like baby step, you know, kind of opportunity. That is definitely where it's at. And, you know, one of the things I like used to just tell people generally is like, what just sets your soul on fire? Right? Like we're here to live. We're not here to work. And again, like I know that people are going to receive that in all different ways depending on where they are. But if you really think about it at any age, do you think we're really doing all of this just to work? Like, just to literally, like, there's got to be more to it than that. And I think if you listen to your intuition, you know that. So if you're, this is so sad, but I used to say like, the shining thing, like, all work and no play. I used to say make a dog girl.
I love it.
I would say that because I would know, like, you know, again, intellectually, I can conceptualize so many things that I would be like, I can see that this is bad. Like, this is so not good.
This is so bad.
This is going to end badly, right? But I didn't know really how to get out of it. I really didn't. And I love that you brought up this example, because if you can just happen upon something that brought you joy, something that made you smile or whatever, just do that again.
For even a few minutes.
Just a second. Like if you laughed at a comic or something, like watch a comedy movie. Like if you do, and then maybe you do an improv class later. Maybe you try some stand up one day. Like, I mean, it doesn't have to be this big fancy dream. I don't even know why I said all those things. It could literally just end at like you watched a funny movie and it made you feel better. Like that's it.
And then you chose to do it again.
Yeah. And then maybe you chose to bring some friends to watch one of your favorite movies with you, and that brought you more joy, right? Like whatever it is, just lean into that. Like just like do more of that. Do what brings you joy. Just that. I think there's so little permission for just joy in our lives.
I completely agree. Yesterday I read a summary of a academic article from, I want to say, University of Sussex, that said even reading for pleasure for 10 minutes reduces your stress levels by something obscene, like 60%.
Nuts. And I mean, and you know, all these psychologists and doctors are prescribing all these happy pills, which, you know, I'm not going to boo-boo because I like them, but, I'm also going to say that why are we not prescribing stuff like this? Why are we not like just going to the simple thing?
Prescribing nature.
Yes. Yeah. I've seen that too. And, in some places. And, you know, I've seen it first, in the way of thinking of like the body beyond just, you know, medicine, essentially, right? Like just pharmaceutical interventions. I've seen it, in my medical legal partnership work as doctors prescribing like food bank. And just being like, well, you deserve, you know, and you need healthy, nutritious foods. So here's how you can get them, right? And then I've seen it, in nature, in prescribing nature. We were trying to do a grant actually with the local park here in Austin, for that very thing. But I think, you know, it's so fascinating just to think about how like our society is generally not set up for that at all. Like we're set up to take drugs. And
to make us more productive at all times.
Yeah, because depression can really get in the way of capitalism, you know?
But then we should make sure there are plenty of side effects so that we can prescribe more drugs.
It's a vicious cycle, isn't it?
It is.
And that's why I love that you're saying it sounds so simple, but like I don't want to let it, you know, just like fly by, because it's actually really, really important. It's kind of like the cornerstone to healing, actually, in my opinion, is I think joy is the doorway to healing. Like,
And
just
who doesn't want to
wanting
be
that.
joyful? Like,
I don't know, but look, there are people that have been conditioned also to suffer, to feel worthy,
yeah.
right? I mean, all I have to say is Catholicism. Like,
That was exactly what was on my mind, but I'm on such a high for all the lovely statements for the new Pope that I'm just like,
oh, good.
wow,
Well,
this is really
hopefully
being
they will
about
turn
being
that
good
around,
people.
but that's what they're known for, right? And so,
Yep.
one of the things. And so I think, just that, like, I think that is the best tip of the day. Just like literally pay attention to what brings you joy and do more of it. I think that's the
Wow.
doorway. That might be the gateway to everything else, because once you
It's like
start
a
to feel
gateway
joy,
drug.
yeah, but in the best way, it's a, a gateway moment. If
Yes.
you find that gateway, that entry point, like, doesn't it follow that, like, oh, this is really nice. I want more of this.
Yeah.
And how can I have more of this? And it's like, I always say, like, saying no or saying yes is just saying no to something else, right? So like if you're saying
Yep.
yes to more and more and more work, you're literally saying no to something else. You don't even know what you're losing out on,
Yeah.
right? And so that's why you have to get into a place where you know what brings you joy. And then you do more of it, because if you're saying yes to joy, you're saying no to burnout, to overwork, to all of these other things that could be crippling to you. So I think that's the best, which is just find more joy.
Let's all do it.
Yeah.
Let's all promise ourselves that we're going to find more joy. And we can start small. We can start 5 minutes of joy, whatever that might be for you.
Yeah. And it could literally be as simple as like, I'm going to go lay in bed for 5 minutes, which was one of the things I
Yep.
started doing in the middle of the workday, and it was fabulous.
So naps are highly undervalued
Oh man.
and so restorative.
I'm so jealous of people that can just take a nap anytime. I'm like, oh, that is a superpower. That's amazing. Or just walking outside, like literally, if it's a nice day outside today, like just walk outside and take like a big breath of fresh air. If you have fresh
Oh,
air, like this is
yeah.
where gratitude and joy start to like, intertwine. It's like, if you think about what you're grateful for in life, like even just enjoying that, like, I remember going into my pleasure era and people would be like, what is a pleasure era? And I'm like, it's probably not what you're thinking. I'm like, it's literally just taking pleasure in what I already have and
Yeah.
just like being mindful with every like bite, actually enjoying my food instead of like scarfing it down, actually like having a visceral moment of joy in what I'm eating or
Isn't that important, right?
what
I
have
see
you.
so many people taking bites that are like
Mm-hmm.
larger than their mouth. And I don't think they chew. I think they just swallow. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
how are you tasting it?
Mm.
Why? Are you
Mm-hmm.
enjoying this bite? Because I
Don't
think you should
choke.
enjoy every bite. If you're going to choose to put it inside your mouth, enjoy it.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying is like everything feels like it's pressuring us, right? To like give up more
Yeah.
and more and more of our humanity and become more and more and more, the robots that we are designing to take over our jobs anyway, so what's the point? But
Oh,
I wish that I wish for that. I actually think that it is one of the pathways to eventual like, healing and self-discovery, that everyone just go ahead and engage and indulge. Like I feel, we've talked about this before. It's like so many times people take indulgence as like a dirty word, bad word. Pleasure is a bad word, right? Especially for women. And I'm just like,
Puritans ruined it for
the
everybody in the
Puritan,
United States.
the Puritan wound is what we can call that.
Ugh.
We need to heal the Puritan wound by letting the
Yes.
Puritans have a little fun, okay? Like,
Yes.
let them get a taste.
Yes.
Let them have some joy, see how it feels. And
You're going to
then
like it. I
you're gonna
promise.
love it. You're gonna love it. Don't worry about it. And then, realize that it's okay. The world is not gonna burn because, you enjoying
You
a
found
piece of
joy.
cheesecake or whatever. Yeah, like it's gonna be okay.
Right.
Yeah, so I think doing can sometimes be our best teacher too.
I agree. And what is that? Like Malcolm Gladwell, that 10,000 something becomes a habit, or
Yes,
10,000
yes,
attempts, or
yes, yes.
that seems
Was
like a
that
lot.
Atomic Habit or something like that? I can't
I
remember,
think
but yeah,
so.
yeah, yeah. You keep doing that. There's also like the Tipping Point book that I didn't finish reading, but same concept of like, also like expertise is another thing that comes up in that regard too. Like somebody was saying that like, these basketball players, like over their lifetime, if they're like, practicing and taking, I don't know, 500 shots a day or something, like how many hundreds of thousands of shots that is per their lifetime, and how many they actually get is like 2% of the shots, or like 5% of the shots, something ridiculously small like that. And it just shows the
That
power of habit,
right? And that
and practice.
reminds me of that famous Wayne Gretzky quote about how you miss all the shots you do not take, which is like the
Mm,
counterpoint, right? Like if you don't try it,
yeah.
you're never going to know.
Oh God, yeah. I love that sentiment because I really think that that kind of encapsulates our entire, a theory of change and our perspective. Like I like to call it our philosophy, right? Like it's an optimism philosophy of like,
Yes.
if you like whether or not you think you can do it, you are correct. That was, I think, Theodore Roosevelt said that, something like that, right?
I love
And
that.
the reason being is like if you really think you can't do something and you don't even try, like you definitely ain't gonna do it. So you have to have some faith, right? You have to believe in the possibility in order to even get yourself there to try it. So I think that's kind of where I would like to like, offer listeners of just like believe that first of all, you are worthy of healing, you are worthy of joy, you're worthy of pleasure. And yeah, you can find some today in the smallest or the biggest things and just revel in it today. Like give yourself permission, and that will open you up to so much more.
And I'm going to sum up with some advice I got during a bar review from a professor,
Mm.
and it was, don't freak out. You can do it. And I think that is fantastic life advice because we all can do whatever we think we can.
Agreed. I love that. Don't freak out.
You know, so good because we're all fully capable people who understand on, I think, an internal level who we are, what we want to be, and what our limits are. So
Yeah.
just do it. Just be the best you. Because I do not like that Nike slogan. You got this. You can do it because you have it inside you.
That's right. That's right. And even when you don't have it, you have us. So that's what we're here
Yes.
for, to lift each other up when we can, or when we want to just elevate even a little bit higher. So thank you for being my person for that, Tessa, and being such a lovely friend and such an inspiration, and sharing generously all of your life lessons today with us. And until next time, y'all stay uplifted.